We're finally getting into a normal budget month, and today I'm sharing my actual household budget for August 2021. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here on my channel we talk about life and money and how you can enjoy life while still accomplishing financial goals through the use of a budget. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any new videos. Today I'm sharing my actual household budget for August 2021, showing you how we plan to spend every dollar that we make for our household. My household is made up of my husband Jacob, myself, and our 14-month-old son named Peter. We live in Portland, Oregon, and we are homeowners, and we budget every single month to make sure that we are accounting for all of our expenses while still working on some serious financial goals. Before we get into it, I want to let you know that this budget template I will be using is one that you can get yourself on my shop. I will have a link to it down in the description box below so you can check it out there. It's an instant download, works in Excel, Google Sheets, numbers, all the things. So without further ado, let's get into this budget. So the first section that we have here is our income section. If you are a usual subscriber, then you may notice that the colors look a little bit different for the budget. I hope that you're just as excited about it as I am. Thought that it needed like a fresh start, and so I had added some new colors. The new colors are also updated in the budget download, so you can get that there as well. But if you have the old one and you want to change the colors, you can just manually change the colors to be whatever you want as well. So I thought that this was a fun one and looked a little more summery. So anyway, sorry to get off on that tangent, but this is the income section now. So we have Jacob's income. So my husband Jacob works in product marketing. He does some competitive intelligence for a software company, and he works full-time doing that. His job is 100% remote, so he does work out of his office in our home. And then I'm kind of like a stay-at-home mom. I don't work for an employer, and I stay home with my son all day, but then I do have my business. I work maybe 15 hours a week, and I do everything here on YouTube and social media, so I do make money from that as well. So our income has been a little wonky for the last few months because my husband Jacob recently started this new job in June, and so it was kind of like that time where, you know, we were finishing out with another job and then the new job, and then my husband is actually paid every other week, and we haven't been on an every other week schedule for many years. Like previously it's been twice a month, so this is a new paying schedule. But the month of July ended up being a 3 paycheck month, but also we weren't eligible yet for benefits, so nothing was being deducted. So that seemed like a higher income month. Anyway, so now we're getting into August, and this is a regular 2 paycheck month for him. And we also are now deducting for 401k and insurance. So with 401k, we actually are working on maxing out Jacob's 401k for this year. So we are contributing a hefty amount out of his paycheck into the 401k. So that is $750 per pay. So for this month, $1,500 is going into his 401k with his employer. Whew, so that was a lot of info, but those are just great things to be aware of when you're looking at like the net pay that we budget off of. And when you're creating your budget, it's important to remember the things that are being deducted out of your paycheck before it hits your bank account, because sometimes it may be discouraging to see that your net pay is a lot less than what you think it should be, but you know that it's lower because you have money going towards other things, like $1,500 a month going into retirement for us. And then we have my business income. Like I talked about, I pay myself a steady salary out of my business account every month. So we have that there, and I just keep this all blocked out individually for privacy with Jacob's employer. So all that to be said, our total income this month, we plan $7,500. And this should be about what we will take home after taxes, insurance, yes, we pay taxes, and 401k and everything. So $7,500. All right, so we use a zero-based budget, which means all of our income equals all of our expenses and money out, whether that's to expenses or savings. So now to show you where we plan to spend all of that money. First thing we have here is our normal expenses, and so we have our tithe as our first thing in our budget. We are Christians and we believe in tithing, giving to our church and other organizations, so that's always going to be a priority in our budget. So the first thing that we have here is our tithe at $750, which goes to our church. Next we have is African New Life. We support 2 children in Rwanda with African New Life at $78 a month, and then we support another missions organization for $40. Next we have is our mortgage, which is at a standard $2,220.50. Like I said, we own our home in Portland, Oregon, and it's a 4-bed, 3-bath home in Portland suburbs. And we've been homeowners for almost 2 years now, actually. So this makes up almost 30% of our take-home pay, but this is take-home, like I said, after insurance and a hefty amount to the 401k. So take-home, I like to view more as like take-home after taxes. So this is much lower when it's after taxes and not including the additional 401k that's deducted out of, because that's not necessary, because that's not like a true basic need for us to contribute to retirement. But anyway, $2,220.50 is the standard. This covers our principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. We did get out of PMI a few months ago, which was exciting. Then we have an HOA, so we pay $121.46 for our HOA for our neighborhood. Next we have is water sewer. It's kind of a standard of $93.85 each month. Then we have natural gas, which should be around $40, probably a little bit lower, honestly, because now that we're in the summer, we are only using natural gas for cooking if we do anything at the oven or the stovetop. And we do have natural gas to heat our home, but obviously we're not heating it in July or August. Next we have is trash. We pay our trash every other month, and this month was a trash month, so $58.72. And then we have electric, maybe around $70, maybe a little bit more. But this is for running our air conditioner. We do have central air, which is lovely, as well as any sort of lights that we keep on in our home, obviously is for electric as well. Then we have internet at a standard $44.99 each month. Then our cell phones, this is for my phone and Jacob's, which is at $109.59. And then our car insurance, which is at $109.64 for our 2013 Corolla and 2013 RAV4. Next we have is life insurance for myself and my husband Jacob at $52.89 each month for life insurance. We just have a term policy. Next we have is groceries. I have this at $3.50 this month for our family, which we recently increased this from $300 to $3.50, but it may need to get increased just a little bit more going forward, as I know that we've seen the price of groceries increase. Also, you'll see in our July budget report, but this was a little bit crazy. I increased this mid-month for us because groceries was becoming insane. We went on kind of this health kick and we're doing kind of keto-ish. Like Jacob stayed with it a lot longer than I did because I feel like I didn't love the way that it made me feel and had some like implications with that. But we were just trying to like be healthy and have other alternatives. But with having like keto diet for like groceries, it got so expensive real fast with a lot of meat and things like that. And carbs are cheap. And when we weren't buying any cheap carbs and having to substitute it for other things, we definitely saw that in our budget. So we are trying to stay, we would like to eat more healthy, so maybe we have to increase our budget a little bit more going forward. But with that, and then the cost of goods just going up with inflation, $350 to maybe even $400 may have to be our new norm for groceries. The thing that I love to tell people is to spend no more than like $150 per person per month for groceries. So with 3 of us, that technically would be $450. I definitely don't think we need to spend more than $450, but we may have to be closer to $400. I know, just wait until my son Peter is a teenager and how much he'll be eating then. But for right now, I feel like we're able to definitely stick to less than $150 per month per person. The next line item that we have is eating out at $100 each month for eating out, either that's restaurants, takeout, whatever that may be. Then we have $50 a month for gas. Like I said, my husband works remote, so he has no commute. And then I stay home and work from home and everything too. So we don't really have a ton of places to go. So $50 a month is like one fill up, but I know the cost of gas has also gone up, so we'll see. Then we have fun budgeted in here, $50 a month for anything fun that we want to do as a family for the month. Then miscellaneous, which we have at $150. Miscellaneous just basically is kind of like our buffer. It covers anything that we weren't expecting during the month. Anything that doesn't have like a category that we didn't plan for can just go to miscellaneous. Next we have is Peter. So we put $50 a month into a brokerage account for our son Peter, and the purpose of this account is that we can gift it to him when he is a bit older and help him with like his first car or a wedding or even like a down payment on a house, just to be able to like gift these things to him down the road. So $50 a month is what we have going into that brokerage account. And the reason why I keep this in the expense section of the budget is because that money gets sent out somewhere else, like out of my bank account, I'm not personally keeping track of it. So that's why I have this in the expense section, even though it is going into savings, right? So next we have is college, and under that same like reasoning of why I have it as an expense, college, we have $200 a month auto drafted to go into Peter's 529 college savings plan. And yeah, that's something that we always have in our budget each month. So total normal expenses, money that gets sent out of our bank account, $4,739.64. So now let's look at the savings section of our budget. The first thing that we have is our emergency fund, which is fully funded. We're not going to be adding anything else to that. We have over $20,000 in our emergency fund. We keep that in a high yield savings account to earn a little bit of additional interest, but that just sits there in case we have any sort of large emergency or something happen that we can cover. Next we have is personal spending money. I like keeping it in the savings, like sneaking fund section of the budget, because that way we can save it up month over month if we want and spend it on something larger, or we could spend it that month. But Jacob gets $150 each month and I get $100. The reason why Jacob gets more is just simply because he's more of a spender, and we're honestly at the point like in our lives, like with our income, that we could easily each get $150 a month, and that seems very reasonable. But I just personally don't feel like I need to spend that much money. Like I don't know what I would spend my money on. So give Jacob $150 and I'm totally fine with $100. I'd rather have more money go to our financial goals. So there's that. And then we have extra giving, and we put $50 a month into an extra giving fund for us to be able to do fun giving opportunities. If they ever come up, then we can use that sinking fund. Next we have is gifts. So having a line item for gifts, like for baby showers, or like for baby showers or weddings or someone's birthday. That's a newer sinking fund line item for us as well. Then we have clothing at $50 a month. This is mostly for myself and Jacob whenever we need to get some new clothing. We actually recently did get Jacob a few new shirts, which was important because I think he's been wearing the same shirts for at least like 3 years. So it was time. Next we have is vacation. We're putting $400 a month into our vacation sinking fund, and that way when we go on vacation, we will have the money set aside ready to be spent when we're ready to go. So we do have a couple trips planned coming up, and we're excited about those, and it's nice to know that we have the money set aside in our budget. Next we have is Christmas at $100 each month. We save this throughout the year. That way when December rolls around, we have the money set aside in our Christmas sinking fund ready to be spent on Christmas related expenses. Then we have medical at $25 a month. We also are now going to have an FSA with Jacob's health insurance plan with his employer, a flexible spending account. So we'll use that first and foremost, but additional sorts of medical things, if we may need it after the FSA, then we'll have the money set aside in our sinking fund here. Next we have his cord blood registry. So my son Peter, like I said, he's 14 months. When he was born, we actually did cord blood banking with cord blood registry, and we loved the whole experience. It was great. I'll have a link to cord blood registry in the description box below if you want to check it out. But there is an annual fee associated with that, and I totally forgot about it by the time that Peter turned 1 and that fee was due. But now going forward, I'd like to just save that fee over every month to be able to then have the money set aside when the fee comes due next year. So that fee is $31 a month, but it's paid annually. Next we have is car maintenance. We put $75 a month into a car maintenance fund to cover any sort of car repair sort of expense that comes up with that. And then we have house maintenance at $375. I have seen in the comments people have wondered if I was going to increase this amount in our house maintenance fund. I may increase it soon. I've been basing this off of wanting to save 1% of our house value over the year. So taking our house value, multiply by 1%, and then divide by 12, and that's how much we wanted to save each month. But with as crazy as the market has been in the last 2 years since we bought our house, like this number has gone up. And I know that when we first bought our house, I think I had this down at $300 a month, but now our house keeps going up in value, so we may need to adjust this soon. But for right now, we haven't had to have any sort of like repair or thing, but maybe we'll increase it to $400 pretty soon. But this will just cover any sort of house maintenance project or event that may arise. And it adds a little bit of comfort to me knowing that we have the money set aside if we had to spend it on any sort of house maintenance project. Like someday if the water heater goes out, then hopefully we'll have enough in our house maintenance line item that we can pay for it that way. Next we have is household. We put $100 a month into household, and this covers things like paper towels, toilet paper, soap, detergent, like just general household things. Then we have $100 a month going into our baby fund, which Peter isn't really a baby anymore. He's kind of a toddler. But this just covers any sort of like ongoing expense for Peter, like diapers, wipes, clothing, toys, like anything that we had to buy for him specifically goes in here, $100 a month. And yeah, I should probably change this from baby to toddler. I don't know. And then the last line item that we have here is our brokerage account. So this is basically where every extra dollar is going right now, going into a brokerage account that we are investing for the future. We don't exactly know what the definite purpose of this brokerage account will be, but I can tell you it's either going to be for like retirement. We're going to keep saving that, and someday we can, you know, use those funds when we come to retirement. Maybe we'll use some of it to be able to purchase a new car soon-ish, eventually. And then also we have considered moving. I'm not sure when that would be, but if we had any sort of additional moving expense, maybe we'll draw on these funds as well. So the total that we plan to put in there is $1,154.36. I then just transfer the money out of there and into our brokerage investment account each month, and that way it gets funded. So as a grand total going to our sinking funds, it is $2,760.36. And the grand total for our expenses and our savings is $7,500, which, as you can see here, the difference, which should be zero, is zero, and we have a zero-based budget. So that is our overall budget for the month of August. We're getting into hopefully a more normal budget now that Jacob's new job has like settled and having these additional things taken out of his paycheck. And I do know that since he's on an every other week like payday, that we will have 2 months a year that will be 3 paycheck months instead of 2, which right now are July and December. So those are kind of like extra bonus pays, it feels like. So I'm looking forward to that, but for right now this is kind of the standard, and I'm glad we're kind of getting back into some normal budgeting with that. I don't know if you can relate if you change jobs and there's like kind of a season where things aren't the same each month. So anyway, let me know in the comments below what is something that you're looking forward to for the month of August. And don't forget, if you want to check out this budget template, I will leave a link to it in the description box below so you can grab it for yourself. And thank you so much for hanging out and joining me for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.